It is over.
Hey guys, I'm Wrestling Days, and you're listening to the Insiders Wrestling Podcast.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. We are the Insiders, and man, are we excited to be here today. This has been a long time coming for us, and it has been highly anticipated by both Jeff and myself, and I know the excitement was shared by you guys as well. So we are just absolutely thrilled to be here today and finally be able to deliver our podcast. So first things first, just want to give a little thing about ourselves and where we came from as far as wrestling is concerned. So I started watching wrestling when I was a young man, probably about 7 or 8 years old. I go back to the time of Saturday morning wrestling, which was studio wrestling pretty much. They just showed it very similar to NWA, and that is why I like NWA so much. I have been watching faithfully ever since. First live event I ever attended was in the Philadelphia Spectrum, and I was able to see guys like Bob Backlund, the Wild Samoans, the Masked Superstar. The highlight of my youth in wrestling was meeting Andre the Giant, which was actually very cool. It was outside of a small event that I attended in a local gym, and he actually asked me when I started watching wrestling and kind of gave me a little pat on the head. So that was my highlight of my wrestling so far, as far as anybody I ever had the pleasure of meeting. So that is my wrestling background. I've loved it for a long time, and I've watched it for a long time. And Jeff, how about yourself, buddy?
Oh man, I've been a wrestling fan for as long as I can remember. I actually have pictures where I'm like 2 or 3 years old, and I have a Hulk Hogan little stuffed animal or whatever it was, and I've been a fan for as long as I can remember. The first event that I went to, and I spoke about this on a stream a while back. Was Ricky? I saw Ricky Steamboat versus Ric Flair at the Greensboro Coliseum, and what a way to be spoiled, I guess, for my first live match. I've seen a lot of live matches since then, but that one kind of holds a special place in my heart. I actually love wrestling so much that I became a wrestler when I was in college and wrestled on the independents for a little bit. And, we'll go into that story in future episodes, but, I'm really excited to be doing this. Both of us have a huge passion for wrestling, and, I'm really glad that we get to share it with everyone out there.
Absolutely, Jeff. Absolutely, and that's amazing that you wrestled on an indie circuit. And speaking of which, as a little early preview, we are going to be looking to go into the indies and looking to see if we can get some people in here from indies and talk a little more about that, because that is something that not a lot of people do mention, and those guys work very, very hard. I do have a friend of mine who was on the indie circuit as well, and I have a little bit of background with that, and they really put their blood and guts into what they do, and it's amazing to see. So we look forward to bringing you guys that. So that's just a little quick preview there. So
Absolutely.
Yes. And Jeff mentioned, obviously, our biggest thing here is we are a community podcast. So not sure. I did kind of do some research on it during the past week, and not sure there are many of those out there, but we are a community cast. So I want to just shout out you guys and say thanks to everyone out there who followed us, whether that be on Twitter, whether that be on Facebook, our Instagram account, and thank you to everyone who was so generous to send us in your suggestions, DMs, just little things, little notes saying what you'd like to see, what you'd like to hear about. It's awesome. And I can't thank you guys enough. That gave us a host of ideas to use going forward in this and as to what you guys want to see. So that's fantastic. And that's really what we're going to need to keep getting from you guys. Feedback and opinions are always appreciated, whether it's something to suggest or whether it's just something that you didn't like or did like. Listen, let us know, because that is the only way that we're going to make it for the people and about the people. So that's what we want to do. And so please keep doing that. So Jeff, let's get to the weekend review, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Let's get right into it. So obviously, and we're not going to spend any time on this because we know this has been talked about to death. But we're gonna get into obviously the week was disrupted. We all know that. It's a heavy thing laying on us right now, and that is one thing we are going to stay away from. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to mention it. Try to keep this as positive as we can. So the weekend review. Let's start with Raw. So. What stood out, Jeff, to you the most about the Raw show this past week?
Well, like we talked about before, Edge's return, with everything that Randy Orton has done since the night after the Royal Rumble, everyone was anticipating Edge's return, and that really stood out to me. It stood out for a couple different reasons. I loved how Edge came into the arena with the intensity, but it also stood out for a couple reasons that weren't really so well done, I think. I didn't really like the fact that Edge didn't get his hands on Randy. I really wanted to see that, but I guess, in terms of a build and a payoff, maybe that's the way that they're taking it. So,
yeah. I definitely agree with you. It was a big moment. And we talked about it in the community that a lot of people were even kind of hoping that we wouldn't see him until WrestleMania, because that would have been amazing. I know I had heard some people saying that, could you imagine the pop he would have gotten if people really didn't know that he was definitely coming back and just all of a sudden showed up there, and his music hits and boom, he comes out. It would have been an amazing pop that he would have gotten for that. So, I would agree. I think that it was such an anticipated thing for his comeback and all the things that had happened to people he knew and stuff like that. And then poor old MVP, man, poor old MVP. Where's the respect for MVP?
Where's the love? Where's the love?
Oh man, the poor guy's cannon fodder for the WWE. I'm wondering if he's regretting coming back and signing that contract. But yeah, he just happened to be wrong place, wrong time, and he incurred the wrath of Edge while he was in that ring. So yes, I agree. That was what stood out most to me and most to our community as well, was the Edge return from Raw. Yeah. So let's turn our attention to Tuesday, and a show that is really growing and has grown over the past 6 or 7 months. And Days is very involved with this show, loves the show, and we do too, and for many different reasons. Let's get to NWA. So they had an episode of Circle Squared. It was their second episode of that going so far, and some funny moments in there. I'll punch your mother to get this contract. I love that. I was rolling when I heard it. It was funny. I was kind of actually cooking in my kitchen at the time, and I had it playing in the background, and I heard it. I'm like, what was that? So I loved it. It's great because these are new people trying to get a position, and they're really letting it all out there, and they're really showing their character as well.
Right.
So, and you yourself were impressed by Danny Jordan, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I've been following her online for a while, and I was really happy to see when it was announced that she would be on there, because I think she's a star. I really do, and I love her gimmick. Her promo skills are great. I really think she's great in ring as well. So I'm really happy to see that. And like we said before about, the independent wrestlers, a lot of these people that are on Circle Squared are people that have been grinding for years on the independent circuits. So to see them be able to get this platform is absolutely amazing, and they deserve it. And I was really impressed by Danny Jordan in those moments, and being able to see her on that scale really was good. And I'm a big fan of hers.
I agree. I didn't know her at all until I saw her on this, and I came off impressed too. I watched her little clip, and she's got some real heel skills, and you can tell. I like seeing it because you can tell where some of these guys are being influenced from, and when I was listening to her, I was thinking Jericho.
Yes.
Obviously with Jericho's list, comparing it to her book, kind of came across that way to me, but yeah, she's definitely got some real heel skills, and I certainly am pulling for her. I hope that, the NWA sees her for who she is, because I agree with you. I think she really can be a star.
And if they don't, I hope another bigger, I hope another promotion picks her up, whether it be Impact or WWE, NXT, AEW, whoever it is, someone needs to sign her immediately.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you. And again, it's a great thing that the NWA is doing here, because like you said, it brings them to a spotlight. So even if they don't pick them up, sure, they could easily be seen on that channel and seen on their show. And then, like you said, someone else may end up noticing and grabbing them. So I think that's great. I think it's a fantastic idea. And you can tell that they listened to our story or our comments about their Circle Squared show, because they did change it and they made it a little bit longer, which the first episode was only a little less than a half an hour and abruptly kind of ended. So people weren't too happy about that. So that's what I like about them. You can definitely tell that they listen to their fans. And I think it's a great thing.
Absolutely.
So let's go on to Wednesday night. Wednesday night we had NXT. Now this is the first of the shows that was at the Performance Center, the first of two shows. So, and obviously the big thing to me was the final match, the Ciampa versus Gargano match. And what about you, Jeff? I'm sure you probably thought the same.
Yeah, that ending, honestly, when the last match ended, I was a little bit worried, because I said they've left a lot of time here. What are they going to do to end this show? And boy, did they end this show in a great way. I mean, just the lasting visuals of Ciampa and Gargano going off of the balcony there and through the table. And even in the aftermath of it, seeing Ciampa kind of, fired up and having to be escorted away, that finish, oh my goodness. I mean, I'm just waiting for that match, because they can't do a regular match at this point. It has to be, like a no holds barred, a street fight, something. But give me more of that. What about you? What about you?
Oh my goodness. And speaking of our community absolutely went crazy in the past in that ending. Everybody, all I saw was OMG, OMG, OMG right down the list from everyone in the community. And believe me, guys, I felt the same way. I did not think that they were going to, when they were still on the platform, I thought, okay, they're just going to end it on the platform, because, Ciampa was pretty much out at that point. So I did not think they were going through that table, especially being the fact that they didn't clear that table. You always see the superstars will go down and they'll clear the monitors and everything out of a table before they do that. And they did not clear that table. So, I mean, I'm sorry, no matter what kind of body you are and condition you are, you smash against the TV monitor. Yeah, that's not going to
It hurts.
that's not going to feel too good. So yeah, it was an amazing, amazing ending for NXT this week. And yeah, so it was truly, truly awesome. AEW will go into a little bit. I know everybody's anticipation of the, who is the exalted one, obviously, with the whole Matt Hardy thing going on in the background. So we still didn't get an answer on who the exalted one was. But we did get some good matches there. Although I would say that NXT probably won the week this week, definitely for the ending of their show alone.
I would agree with that. I think that here, and I know I may get in trouble with some folks with AEW that are huge AEW fans, but as much as people get on WWE about their 6-man and 8-man tag matches,
yes,
AEW tends to have a lot of those matches too.
they do.
And I'd like to see more women's matches. I'd like to see some different folks out there. I mean, what they're doing is really good and I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I need a little more variety, because at this point it's almost getting to the point where it's a little bit stale. And I'm not saying it's there yet,
Mm-hmm.
but it's getting to that point, and I just want to see a little more variety. I think that maybe some of it is them kind of waiting on this big reveal for the exalted one. I have my own theories on who I think it is.
Yep.
I don't think it's Matt Hardy.
No, yeah, I agree.
But I want to see a little bit I want to see some different stuff from AEW. I mean, they put on a great product. It's another option. I really cannot stand, and I'm sorry to go on my soapbox here.
Oh,
I really can't. I really can't stand the division in the wrestling community where it's like I'm with AEW, or I don't care about that. We're wrestling fans,
yep.
And doggone it, we have options now. We have great products that are out there. Let's enjoy them and not be so divided. Let's just enjoy them. But I'd like to see AEW do a little bit more. And if they're going to keep doing the 6-man tag stuff, then create a belt for that. Since they have so many factions, create a belt for a 6-man tag. And that way it differentiates itself. And, and it's something that's new. But, I want to see something that kind of spices it up. I'm sorry to go on a rant there.
No, don't apologize, my friend. Hey, that is absolutely. You know what? I couldn't agree more. I love the show, and like you said, honestly, the biggest takeaway I have from that is the fact that you're right. We have 2 shows on a Wednesday to watch, and hey, you know what? It's hard for everybody to watch it. You can't click back and forth at the same time. I mean, Days really does a terrific job of doing that. I DVR one show every week and watch the other. But yeah, we have all this great wrestling going on right now, and let's not fight one another. Let's all get along, right? Let's all be appreciative for the wrestling that we're getting. But yes, I do agree with you. I think that the tag matches can be a little bit too much, and I think that they do a great job with some of the storylines and such. But yeah, I definitely agree with your points there. So excellent that you brought that up. And continuing with our weekend review, and the last thing we will go over is obviously SmackDown. Now, SmackDown really, we didn't know what to expect. We had heard later in the week that it was being moved to the Performance Center, and we kind of all saw it coming with everything that's been going on. So when the show started, we really didn't know what we were going to get or what we were going to see, and what we saw was Triple H was the first thing we saw appear there, and he gave a very good speech to start the show, kind of really getting people involved and stuff like that, and then Triple H stuck around. I'm going to tell you what I thought really quick, and what it reminded me of, and I know I made this comment in the chat quite a bit, and there were some people who agreed with me, was it reminded me of the USA wrestling programs with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain.
Yes.
I really thought that and I don't know if they did that purposely, because it almost seemed like it was very centered along that. So I don't know if Triple H went there with him and said, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. But I'd like to kind of think that he did, but it really reminded me of that because obviously Triple H was playing the Bobby the Brain Heenan type, that type heel character. And Michael Cole was the, more gorilla-ish kind of character, saying like, what are you doing? And so I thought it was great. I thought they did a great job there. That was definitely the highlight of the show and definitely the highlight of the show for the community as well. And then it was a bit eerie, obviously, so it was a little weird,
Yes.
seeing no fans there. And this is something that we're all going to have to get used to for a little bit if things are going to go on. And then obviously the big downer for everybody was the replay from the Chamber. I think that was more of a last minute thing maybe, or a filler decision that they had to do. But yeah, I think they could have done a little bit more there, and hopefully if they keep doing these going forward, they will add more matches to these programs instead. Now tonight's going to be very interesting because a 3-hour Raw in the Performance Center, that's going to be tough to do without some filler in there, especially if they don't have the athletes there because of travel restrictions. So that's going to be very interesting to see tonight. And then we get to the end of the show.
Oh, man.
Oh, what a promo.
Oh.
What a promo. John Cena comes out and delivers his promo talking about Bray Wyatt. And this was certain this is probably as close to a heel as you're going to get from John Cena. But he played this perfectly, came out and started saying how he didn't feel Bray deserved to get what he got, or deserved to be, where he is and stuff like that. Doesn't feel he's the future of the company, and he named other wrestlers and stuff. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we all kind of expected we're going to get a Firefly Funhouse segment, and here comes Funhouse Bray out of the back. So what did you think of the ending of of that show, Jeff?
I think I sent you a text after it, but I got goosebumps.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times with Cena, people give him a lot of crap. Cena is so good on the mic. He's so good. And his promo kind of sets up the table for his changing that The Fiend will do to Cena. Since he's changed everyone else, it kind of sets up that change for Cena. And, just listening to what he said, the fact that he, said those things about Bray, and then Bray coming out, and there are some times where a crowd is a great thing because the reaction kind of propels it and makes it, and makes it more impactful. Bray delivering that promo in front of no one and seeing his delivery, his cadence, and his body language, that promo just shows why Bray Wyatt is one of the best on the mic of all time. I don't care what anybody else says. He's in my top 5 all time, because his delivery, his ability to take that moment and just, it was so eerie, and it was more eerie than a lot of the stuff that he's done in the Funhouse. And really, I really want to see Funhouse Bray out in the ring a little bit more. That made me want to see that a little bit more, because I'd love to see, once we do get to a point where we have crowds again, I would love to see him deliver that type of promo in front of a crowd and see what their reaction would be.
I wholeheartedly agree, and I'm sure the majority of our community will agree as well, because we have a lot of Bray Wyatt fans in our community. And yes, I 100% agree. I know Jody Gilly, one of our community members, who, by the way, has volunteered to be on our show. Thank you, Jody.
Shout out to Jody.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing that. That's awesome. And then she actually had she actually met Bray, which is amazing, which we'll probably get into with her as well. But she kind of mentioned after the show that it was almost like the old Bray, cult leader Bray, actually returned a little bit in that promo. And I would agree. You could hear it. you definitely heard that. So, I agree with you. He is a master at what he does. And that you don't see that very often where somebody could just come out and just grip you in a storyline. And that is, absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And was the highlight of that show definitely for me. So,
Yes.
all right, my friend, now let's get to the next section, and this is what we're all here for. It is now time for the 2019 Insiders Awards as voted on by the community. The reason this came about is because on the community, they covered the awards that Dave Meltzer does for the wrestling, for pro wrestling. And a lot of you guys really weren't happy with the results. So we decided that the first episode would be a vote, and we put it to you guys, and so many of you responded. And again, thank you very much for doing that. And we tallied all your votes up, and we came up with a list of the awards that are voted on by you. So this is your Insiders Wrestling Podcast 2019 awards list. Jeff, are you ready to get into it?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do this. All right. So number one award, we start out with Best Promotion of the Year. And Jeff and I will give you our awards kind of at the end of this too. We'll let you know who we chose as well. So Best Promotion. So that's going to be the company that everybody's choosing, who their top is for the year. So let's get to that. Best Promotion is
We have a winner!
WWE was the promotion that you guys voted on to be the winner of your Promotion of the Year award. And Jeff, who did you think had the best promotion of the year?
I'm going to say it was the NWA. I love WWE, but I think in terms of what the NWA did, it's a completely different brand of wrestling than we've seen in a long time, and it's definitely a throwback to the old school studio wrestling, which I enjoy and love. And then introducing us to all of the new stars that they have. And not only that, but the way in which they take the feedback from the fans and the way that they interact with the fans, that's why NWA is at the top of that list for me for this year, for 2019.
Yeah, and I'm going to just agree with you right off the bat right there. So, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. NWA did it for me, and as it did for many of our other community members as well. Let's go on to the second award. So, Wrestler of the Year. And our winner for the Wrestler of the Year award, as voted on by you, is...
We have a winner!
Adam Cole, baby, is your winner for Wrestler of the Year. So very well deserved, I would imagine, by Adam Cole. He was obviously dominant. He was a champion for the long time, and he actually crossed over with some of the other wrestling shows, and he wrestled guys like Daniel Bryan, and he beat those guys as well. So kudos to them and him, and you voted him in as your Wrestler of the Year, and I definitely agree with that. How about you?
I'm going to go a little bit different here, and I'm going to go with Chris Jericho.
Okay.
And the reason I say Jericho is Jericho's been doing this for so long, and we've seen him reinvent himself so many different times. And to put on some of the matches that he put on in 2019 at his age, with this new persona, it just shows why he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Obviously, he's never been better on the mic, in my opinion. He's fantastic on the mic, but I just think that everything that he put together in 2019 just top notch.
Absolutely, man. He carried AEW for quite some time there, and I would yeah, definitely, that's great point. Great point there. Next award is Match of the Year. So let's get to that one. And Match of the Year, as voted on by you, winner is.
We have a winner!
Cole versus Gargano from TakeOver New York was your winner that you guys voted on for Match of the Year. Jeff, what did you think for Match of the Year?
Well, I do want to point out that it was very close between that match and Tyler Bate versus Walter. Very close between those two. But for me, I really enjoyed NXT War Games, the men's and the women's matches, and I'll get to that one later. But I really enjoyed the NXT War Games match with Ciampa and Cole, going off the top of the cage, and some of the spots with Keith Lee and, some of those, some of the guys from the Undisputed Era. I thought that was by far and away the best match for me for last year.
That was an excellent match, and all of these choices were great. For me, I agree with the folks who voted in Tyler Bate versus Walter. That was just an amazing match.
Absolutely.
So our next award is the best tag team. So the best tag team that you guys voted for is.
We have a winner!
The Young Bucks. You guys voted in the Young Bucks as best tag team of the year. We had some other cool votes in this category. Heavy Machinery got a lot of votes, which was really cool. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, Undisputed Era, also got votes in that area too. For me, this was a really, really tough one for me. I would probably have to agree with the Undisputed Era on NXT just because of the fact that they were, again, they held the titles. They were in the spotlight for so long. What did you think about tag team, Jeff?
Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with you, though. The one thing that I was surprised by is that we didn't get a lot of votes for the New Day.
Yeah.
Which I was a little surprised by. And then Heavy Machinery, made our top, the top three there. So that was good. But I really do think for what they did and, the long reign of dominance, I really do agree with you with the Undisputed Era.
Cool. Very good. And your next award, next up, is the Female Wrestler of the Year. So, who is your female wrestler choice of the year for 2019?
We have a winner!
Becky Lynch, guys. You guys voted the Man as your female wrestler of the year. That's a little irony there, a little bit ironic. But yes, Becky Lynch is the winner of the year, female wrestler of the year. Had a couple of votes for Asuka and a couple of votes for Bayley and Io Shirai as well in there. So a little bit of difference. I would have to agree with the community here and go with Becky Lynch. I think she was the most dominant figure in women's wrestling over the year. But I got to throw a little shout out to our girl Thunder Rosa from NWA. She has been doing some amazing things there. Love Thunder Rosa. The fact that she's now the champion of NWA, man, and I think she has got a bright future in wrestling.
I completely 100% agree. It's hard to argue with Becky Lynch, but for me, Thunder Rosa was my female wrestler of the year, hands down, period. And it's not because she's going to kick Dave's butt, but it's because she's been kicking a lot of butt in the NWA, and she's just fantastic. So glad, again, that the NWA brings out, some of these wrestlers that have been grinding for all of these years. And wow, she's phenomenal. So I'm absolutely I'm sticking with that. Thunder Rosa was my female wrestler of the year.
Awesome. Best pay-per-view is up next, guys. So the best pay-per-view event as voted on by you, the community, is...
We have a winner!
The NWA's Into the Fire and WrestleMania 35 in a flat-footed tie for best pay-per-view of the year. This is really, really cool. A little love for the NWA here, and what was an amazing pay-per-view, and obviously WrestleMania 35, because WrestleMania is the spectacle that it is, and man, I love the votes here. I can't say anything other than that. NXT TakeOver New York was also mentioned up there and voted on by a lot of you guys. All three were absolutely amazing shows. I can't do any better. You guys nailed it. What do you think, Jeff?
Hold on a second. I got I have a quick message from Days here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, can I just interrupt? Thunder Rosa, if you're listening, please don't hurt me.
Honestly, I watched both of these pay-per-views, and thank you, Days, for that comment. Hopefully that preserves your life for a little longer.
Yeah, we don't want him. We don't want him dead. Yeah, that wouldn't be any good.
No, I watched both of these. Into the Fire was the best one for me. The one thing I can say about the NWA is that they're consistent, and when they're consistent, they're consistently great, not just good. Even with NWA Power, everything that they do, I really enjoy. So for me, the winner would be Into the Fire.
Yep, absolutely. Can't go wrong with any of those choices. I love it. Absolutely love it. And let's get to best weekly show. So this is a show that is on every week and that we watch every week. And your winner of best weekly show is...
We have a winner!
NXT. You voted NXT as your winner for best weekly show. And again, I can't argue with that. A couple of votes for SmackDown and Raw, but I cannot argue with NXT being the best weekly show. Although, again, yeah, and I may be a little skewed here, but I would say NWA is right up there as well with the great stuff that they're doing. But NXT was really good. I'd have to favor NWA just a little bit. What do you think?
I'm right there with you. I think that Power is I thought that it was the best weekly show of the year. But what I will say about NXT is the growth that they've had over 2019 and being introduced to stars like Keith Lee, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. If folks hadn't been following them, you can't argue with NXT because they've done some absolutely great things.
Absolutely. They have certainly done that. So let's move on, and we are going next to Faction of the Year. So your Faction of the Year for 2019 is...
We have a winner!
The Undisputed Era is the faction that you chose as the winner of Faction of the Year. And this is very hard to fight. We had a couple votes for the Elite, a couple votes for Inner Circle. Inner Circle, definitely up there. I loved the Inner Circle stuff. But again, that was kind of formulating along the lines and was not around nearly as long as Undisputed Era. So I have to give the edge to Undisputed Era here as well.
I would agree with that. I think, the other groups that were voted in, that were voted for, the Elite and the OC and Imperium. Imperium, I don't think you can go wrong with either, but I cannot disagree with Undisputed Era. Just at one point, they were holding all the gold. So, you can't argue with that.
Cannot fight the gold. The gold is powerful. You can't fight the gold.
Right.
Female Match of the Year is up next, guys, and your Female Match of the Year for 2019 is...
We have a winner!
Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks, Hell in a Cell. You voted as your female match of the year. And again, that was a tremendous match. We also had Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Another fantastic match. I was a little bit disappointed with that one in particular because I wanted it to be just 2 people instead of 3. And the fact that they kind of threw Charlotte into that kind of put me off on that a little bit. But I would agree here. But I'd have to agree with you guys here, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. What do you think, man?
I agree with the community. Like I said earlier, I have to give an honorable mention to the Women's War Games match for NXT. That match was absolutely brilliant, but the stuff that Becky Lynch and Sasha did in that Hell in a Cell match,
unbelievable.
I mean, just unbelievable. The spot in the corner of the cage where Becky puts the kendo sticks and then puts the chair on top of it. I mean, stuff that we had never seen before. So that for me is why that sticks out, and it edges the War Games match a little bit.
Totally agree with you, man. Totally agree. And the last award, the final award for 2019, as voted on by you, is for Best Gimmick of the Year. And our Best Gimmick of 2019 goes to...
We have a winner!
Shocker here, Jeff. The Fiend Bray Wyatt. This was a landslide vote, pretty much. But I do have to mention, we got R-Truth thrown in there. And that's you know
right.
What? That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome because you know what? R-Truth is really good at what he does. He's doing comedy stuff now, and I love that. I think he's doing an amazing job with that. But The Fiend definitely deserves it. That character is what brought me and brought many others, I think, back to watching wrestling last year. And you just can't help but be amazed and hinge on everything he does, from the Funhouse to coming out every, and the appearances and the promos and everything. Fantastic. No question about that. I have no argument with anything that was said by the community here.
Completely 100% agree. Just the fact that Bray has reinvented himself so many times. Like I said with Jericho, he's reinvented himself, his promo skills. But honestly, the tie-in with the horror genre, and you and I both love that, but with the mask and the feel and all of that, I mean, hands down, no arguments for me. The Fiend is definitely best gimmick of 2019.
Absolutely. I agree with you totally, 100% there. They are your awards, guys, as voted on by you. And again, this is about you, and I hope that this came out for you as good as it came out for us. We love the fact that you got your votes in and you got your opinions out there, and this is your list. So you guys voted on it, and these are your awards for 2019. And obviously, we will be watching now going forward, and who is going to be next? Who's going to be up for 2020? We shall see as the year goes by. So our next segment, and this is kind of a surprise segment because this was brought out by you guys in a group chat. So this idea was given to us by you guys, and this was something that you guys wanted to do. And I hope this comes as big a surprise to our buddy Wrestling Days as anyone else. But we got requests by a few people in our community who said that they want to just shout out to Wrestling Days and just give us some appreciation as to why they love the stream and appreciate the stream as well. And I am going to just read a few of these out to you, and there are a couple that are a little bit long, but I'm going to read them out, and we're going to shout out the people who had mentioned these things. First of all, we have Jamie from our group chat community. One time I was on YouTube for a Raw watch along stream, and then I found this channel called Wrestling Days. I was into it ever since, and Days has made me laugh several times. Yes, he makes us all laugh for sure. And especially when the pole runner Went away for a while. Days asked me to fill in for him and just completed it for me. Loved him and the Cringe Crew ever since. So thank you, Jamie, for that. And again, this was something that you guys had told me that you would like to do tonight. So again, awesome, coming right from the community. This one, Rusty Shackelford. We know Rusty. Rusty is famous in our stream. Shout out to Rusty. Rusty wrote, "Why I appreciate wrestling days. Who doesn't hate Monday mornings? We all do. The weekend is over and we're about to start another full week of work. Yep, we all know that feeling. This used to be me too. I would wake up Monday morning, dragging myself into work, trying to motivate and focus, saying to myself that at least Monday Night Raw is on tonight. We all know that feeling, right? As wrestling fans, sometimes it would be a good show, but I was just looking for something to entertain me. And then I found this guy, Wrestling Days on YouTube, and watched a few of his videos. He seemed to be very dedicated to wrestling and knew what he was talking about. So I kept checking out more and more videos, and ultimately I ended up subscribing to his channel. Being honest when I say it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I started watching along with his live streams thinking this guy really loves wrestling. But you know what else he likes? He likes to interact with his followers, and I love that. So I became hooked on watching wrestling with his streams. I wake up Monday mornings now pumped up like a spider monkey. Wow, that's amazing. Like a spider. We got a spider monkey in our podcast. Just excited to get through the day to watch some wrestling along with Days that night. He is pure entertainment gold. Gold emphasized there. So Days, thank you for making Monday and every other day that you stream better for all of us. Please keep up the great work and never, ever change. Rusty Shackelford, thank you for that, sir. We also have another community member. This next comment is from Jackson Oak. And this one, he mentions, the reason I started watching Days was because my friend used to watch with his old videos. So we started watching Days together, and I continued to watch him. One day I saw that he was doing live reaction streams and decided to watch along. And the mixture of the great community and the wonderful Wrestling Days moments kept me coming back every week. Now, a few years later, I'm still watching, and the community has grown even better. Days' humor makes my day, and Days has inspired me to want to make a wrestling YouTube channel of my own in the future. Thank you, Days, for all the amazing moments from the past few years. And lastly, we have our own Jesse Callan and Callan's Corner. So
shout out Jesse.
That's right. Shout out to Callan's Corner. Jesse says, I appreciate Dave's positivity. It's been my favorite thing about him pretty much since I first discovered him. He's also super funny and goofy like me. I pray that he always keeps those traits. So Jesse from Callan's Corner put out that comment as well about Wrestling Days. Jeff and I just have a couple little quick things just to add here as well. I mean, I came back to wrestling as a lot of you know, when the Funhouse started back up, and I joined this community about a month or so after that, and I was pretty much hooked ever since. It is a great community. You guys are really a bunch of great people and have great ideas, great thoughts, and so many of you are talented. I can't believe the amount of posts we got in with things that you guys do on the side and the artwork and all that kind of stuff. It's amazing. Keep sending that stuff out because it's really cool, and I love getting it out there. But yeah. It's a great community. It's a wonderful thing. It's a light, a shining beacon of light. A lot of times for me, being a person who's worked in retail for 28 years, I sometimes I just need a little bit of light, and I get that from this community and from Wrestling Days. So yes, I agree with you guys. Thank you so much for everything that you do, sir, and keep up the tremendous work. And Jeff, I will let you close out this segment, buddy.
Okay. Well, I was just searching for something on YouTube. I was going through a difficult time in my life, and just searching for things, and I came across wrestling, and I hadn't watched in years, and I was like, well, I'll check this out. So I saw this guy, and he was very energetic and positive, and it was great, and it was Days, and I saw that he did a watch along for different shows. So I was like, all right, I'll check it out. So I checked out Monday Night Raw one night, and I was like, okay, there are all these people, chatting about Raw and, interacting with each other. And it took me a couple times to interact with the community. But once I did, it really changed my life. And I was able to meet some great people like you, Joe, like Jesse and so many others. I don't want to leave anyone out. But I was able to actually feel like I was a part of something again. And I'm not going to try and bring this down or get emotional about it, but this community and happening to find Wrestling Days and his YouTube channel has meant so much to me. So thank you, Days, for having such a great community, for being this cool, goofy guy that you are. You're absolutely loved and admired, my friend. And we thank you for everything that you've done and connecting so many different people from so many different walks of life.
Absolutely, man. Very well said. Very well said. I love it. I love it. Finally, guys, we've got to make this come to an end here today. So as much as me and Jeff would love to continue talking, we know you guys have other things to do, and we have a Raw to watch tonight, which is going to be very interesting, as we had said. So we are going to end this on I've got a little surprise gift for everybody here now. So this is really cool. I got a gift for you guys, and I want to present this. So we needed something really, really special here for everything you guys have done for us during this past week and these past few weeks, everything you sent in to us and all the support you guys shown. And this is a gift that is going to keep on giving. You hear that saying, the gift that keeps on giving. This is the gift that keeps on giving. And this gift that we are giving you, Jeff and I, is enjoy it. I know you guys will. I know this thing's going to make the rounds. When I saw this gift, I was like, man, this is going to be creative with it. Be creative with it. I know you guys have that creativity, so really be creative with that gift that we gave you and enjoy. Listen, guys, we had a blast. This has been a crazy, crazy few weeks for Jeff and I, and I hope that you enjoyed the show. I want to hear from you guys. Again, opinions are always welcome. DM me and Jeff. Let us know what you thought. And I hope that you guys had as much fun listening as we had bringing this to you. So, Jeff, final thoughts, buddy.
I agree, man. This has been fun. It's been a fun ride so far, and honestly, I'm looking forward to what's to come and future episodes and continuing to expand our community and our listenership.
Absolutely. We've got coming soon more of your ideas, obviously, because there's so many we could not even get into this episode. We are going to have some surprise guests as well. We've been in talks with Jesse because we know you love your Callan's Corner. We've been in talks with Jesse about getting a Callan's Corner in here as well, and much, much more. So keep an eye on Twitter. Watch our sites, watch our Instagram, watch our Facebook, and keep an eye out because we have got so much more to tell in the upcoming weeks. Thank you guys again so much for joining us. Thank you for listening. And those of you who are new to our community and you're listening for the first time and you loved what you heard, check out the Wrestling Days streams. He streams just about every day and just about every wrestling show. So check those out as well. Join us, because it really is a great, amazing, fun place. And thank you all for listening. We will see you again very soon.